I mean, since 9/11, the majority of our terrorist attacks have not been international terrorists. They've come right here at home. Right-wing extremists, the majority actually have been white supremacists, the majority of those. We live in a nation right now where we're forgetting who we are. In American history, when 4 girls died in a bombing in Birmingham, we responded with a more courageous empathy, and we came together and changed laws to keep people safe, to move our nation forward, advance civil rights. Let's go back further than that. When women were throwing themselves out windows at the shirtwaist factory fire and dying on the pavement below, this country rose up, black and white, Christian, Jewish, and said, this is not who we are. And we changed laws, we changed working conditions and workers' rights. But how have we gotten to the point in America where people are shot and killed at a concert in Las Vegas or a nightclub in Orlando and we do nothing? People are slaughtered in a church in Charleston, South Carolina, slaughtered in a synagogue in Pittsburgh, and we do nothing. Where people are killed in schools, children shot under their desks. And we, the strongest nation on the planet Earth, getting ready to start a school year where we tell our children going to school that we can't protect you, so we're going to send you to school and teach you how to hide, teach you how to shelter in place. This is not who we are. I'm here running for president, not just because of my policy ideas, but because I think we need to awaken our true strength, which always comes from the people. Because the power of the people is greater than the people in power. If you elect me president, I'm going to ask for more from you than has ever been asked before. I'm not going to ask you to put up with more or to pay more in taxes, or, dear God, I'm not going to ask you to be embarrassed more when you turn on the TV and see what your president's saying. But I'm going to ask you to serve more, to help more, to give more, because this country only changes when we do. The call of this moment is for us to revive our democracy, because you see the forces aligned on trying to do anti-democratic things, from gerrymandering to voter suppression to dark money pouring into our politics. We need to revive this democracy, and the only way to do it is for the power of the people to be engaged and to be active. So this election is not about what we're against, it's about what we're for. My fellow Democrats, the call of our party is not to defeat Republicans. This moral moment calls for us to unite all Americans, to build bridges, not to tear them down, to end a nation that seems to be falling into tribalism. So I want to leave you all with a challenge, because yesterday was the 56th anniversary of something really powerful. It was before I was born. My mama was involved. She worked in the DC public schools and had the summer off, and her whole summer she worked for what happened yesterday, 56 years ago. She was working for the Urban League and helping to plan the March on Washington. And I hope you all will go back. 5 people spoke on that day, and some of them had the greatest speeches. One of the men I inspired by the most was a rabbi from Newark, New Jersey, a man named Yocham Prince, who talked very pointedly about there being no neutrality in a cause like justice. He talked about the fact that when real issues are on the line, like climate change, like access to health care, that you are either about the solutions or you're part of the problem. But we all know the speech that echoes throughout history, the speech about a man that had a dream. It was a speech that was so powerful, but I want to remind you, at the beginning of the speech, he began with a call to this country. He talked about that promissory note of a nation that professes the highest ideals, but still has not fulfilled them. A nation where its people, literally, we put our hands on our hearts and we swear an oath to the ideals of like liberty and justice for all, but we don't have it yet. He talked about something that I think every generation has done and we have to do now. When we pledge that oath, we must be about putting more indivisible into this one nation under God. He spoke about a dream that Langston Hughes wrote about when he said there's a dream in this land with its back against the wall. To save the dream for one, we must save the dream for all. And what I want to end with you is my challenge. Look, I'm in this race to win it. I hope you're looking at your next president of the United States right here. I hope you all go to CoryBooker.com. Read about my campaign a little bit more. While you're there, I won't complain if you drop $1 or $2. But this campaign is not about individual ambition. My brother's got my book over there, man. The title is United. I like that. But this campaign must be more about than individual ambition. If you don't make this campaign about us, it's a campaign that's about we, not me. It's got to be a campaign about the character and the culture of our country. It's got to be a campaign that has a revival of civic grace in our nation. It's got to be a campaign where we understand the infinite power of kindness and never mistake. People get confused and think in order to be strong, you also have to be mean. That's a lie. People think that sometimes to be tough, you got to be cruel. That's a lie. And so I want to take you from that exalted moment of a man on the mall talking about his dream to the tragic place on April 4th, 1968, when he got shot and killed. If you were to go to the Lorraine Motel right now, you would look down right where King was killed and you would see words from Scripture written right there. And when I read those words first, I got chills because I knew they weren't about religion. They were about our civic gospel. They didn't put any policy issues there, even though King, people forget, the March on Washington was a march on Washington for jobs and freedom. It's economic empowerment as well as civil rights. But they didn't write about issues there. What's written there, these words from Scripture, are calling to the soul and to the heart of this nation. That's what this campaign is about. And the words from Scripture are the words that were uttered by Joseph's brothers. When they saw him with his coat of many colors, he was a dreamer too, a dream interpreter. And those brothers uttered these words and then grabbed Joseph and threw him into a pit to die. But if you know your Scripture from the Quran or the Torah or the Bible, if you know your Scripture, you know he didn't die in that pit. He rose on up out of the pit and led a nation, Egypt then, through crisis. And that's an old saying from religion. Sometimes they say, sometimes you got to go to the pit before you go to the palace. Well, y'all, we're in a pit right now. And I'm not talking about this in any partisan way. I'm talking about being in a pit because we could be the first generation of Americans to have a lower life expectancy than our parents. Deaths of despair, opioid addiction, suicides. We're in a pit right now because you can't be a leading nation unless you are a leading education nation. And we have the shameful reality that we're sending teachers to school who don't know how they're going to pay their student loans and yet reach in their pockets to pay for things that their kids need because they show up poor. We're in a pit right now because there's someone who's not here right now who looks at our nation and sees that their struggles are being stigmatized. Survivors of sexual assault, people struggling with addiction, someone with special needs, someone with mental illness. The king's sight of his slain, they wanted to challenge us about that pit. And this is what Joseph's brothers say. This is what's written right there. It says, Behold, here cometh the dreamer. Let us slay him and see what becomes of the dream. The challenge of our generation is to answer that question. What will become of the dream? The dream of America. The dream that our forefathers and foremothers fought for and died for, from Beaches to Normandy, all the way to Goodman, Cheney, and Schwerner, black and white, Christian and Jewish, who died in Mississippi for our rights. What will become of the dream? The dream of equality, the dream of justice, the dream of life and liberty. What will become of our dream? Will it become diminished on our watch? Will it become diluted on our watch? Dear God, will it become divided against itself? Or will we answer that question? And each of us individually stand up and say with a conviction and a passion that I too dream America. I will dream this nation new. I will dream her with courage and conviction. I will dream her with passion and purpose. I will dream defiant dreams again. And if we back those dreams up with work and sweat and service and kindness and love, then this nation will not perish in the pit. I promise you, if we dream like that and work like that and heal like that and love like that, we will not let any individual, no matter how high an office he holds, drag us down. We, America, we will rise. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. Thank you. I'm not leaving. I'm going to take some selfies, but now I'm a little.
Now you can take a selfie with a special gift from your friends.
What do you think, guys?
We so appreciate your time. And I now enjoy that. Wear it with pride.
I will.
Okay, you know the season starts on Sunday, right?
It's Stanford colors too, which really works out. Look at you two standing there. Stanford shirt next to an Oklahoma shirt. I love it. I love it. See, we can find common ground. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I want to introduce Carla Guerrera now. She is president of the OU Democrats.